Well, I'm humbled this evening. I'm honored, John, and downright scared. When I talked to Jill last night, she said, "Oh, you didn't stand in line and put your hand up and say, 'Choose me, choose me, choose me,' to give the Friends tribute." No, I did not do that, but I am honored to have this opportunity to speak on behalf of Lynda's friends here in this congregation. And I've titled for my just few moments of memory, Lynda Garrett, a woman of substance. Now, I know Lynda would say, no big deal and no crying. But Lynda was a big deal. Lynda was the real deal. And she was small in stature, but great, great in her living. And as to the no crying, she knew me well, so I can't make any promise on that part. The words that Friends describe Lynda, you've heard some of them already tonight, but these are words that were given to me as I talked to her friends this week. Classy, solid, generous, the gift of hospitality, no mask, no pretense, no drama, always even keel, unwavering faith and trust, extremely kind, and always interested in my story, in your story. A beautiful, grace-filled woman. The extent of John and Lynda's generosity reaches far beyond their support of this corps. They never talk about it, but we hear stories about their goodness from others, literally around the world. Many have been blessed abundantly by their generous giving. I recall Lynda saying to me once when I questioned her on that, she said, "We're blessed. It's not ours to keep, so we share." Her gift of hospitality that you've heard about already, she delighted in sharing with others with no fuss and no stress. I remember in our small group one day we were talking about the gifts, and I said, I definitely don't have the gift of hospitality. I fuss too much. I'm stressed too much, not Lynda. An invitation to their home, whether it was a Christmas gathering or the Queen's birthday, yes, or a Christmas fun, or a summer fun around the pool, or most recently, a royalty celebrating the royal wedding, was an amazing adventure. Now you step into the front foyer of their home, and the fun begins. I can't describe it to you, but you stand and you look around, and then you take your time, and you see all that Lynda and John have gathered through the years, not pretentious in any way, shape, or form, but part of who they are and their life together. You see lots of books, you see lots of pictures. Everything is delightful. Now, Lynda knew I liked fruitcake, and she knew I liked trifle. So, when we were invited to their home, I had both, and I'm very grateful. Sometimes we look at people from the outside and see something very appealing. Something magnetic draws us to them. I was drawn to Lynda because she was a woman of substance. I watched her on Sunday morning in this side of our sanctuary make her way down to that front pew where Joe's sitting right now, greet Mr. Jones, Tom's dad, and then just work her way back up those pews and over here, greeting everyone with a "How are you today?" looking right in our eye. And somewhere along the line in our first year or so here in Clearwater, we were brought right in to this wonderful, wonderful relationship. Thank you, John, so much. Lynda loved walks on the beach, didn't she? She loved pictures of toes when they were at the beach. She loved sunsets, and she loved coffee and tea shops. She loved, as we already heard, earrings. She loved her painted fingernails, and she loved shoes. I didn't know she loved purses, but I would have put that in here. I think she really enjoyed the reaction from her friends when we would check her out, when we would see her. Her last time to come to our small group was April 30th. And she arrived, and she was just as cute as a button. I call her cute as a button because she's so little. And she had a black dress on, and it had yellow stripes on it. I said, Lynda, you look so cute. She said, don't I look like a bumblebee? Typical Lynda. In the summer of 2016, I was seeking the guidance of the Lord to form a small group here in this congregation, specifically for scripture, journaling, and reflection and sharing. And I put it out there not really knowing who would want to join me in our home once a month, but write every day. And Lynda came on board. She was such a vital part of our small group. Her spiritual insight, her scripture reading with authority, her absolute belief in the truth of the gospel, her powerful prayers. She also loved the songbook, and we could count on her to give us a strong hymn of faith supporting our monthly topic. And June's here tonight, and Doris is here tonight, and Connie's here tonight. I don't know if Carol's here or not, and Juanita, of course, but we will miss her in our small group. But she's looking down, and she'll be keeping track of us when we begin again. Now, let me tell you quickly about our Facebook messaging. It's a marvelous thing. I don't know how to get rid of what we don't want anymore, though, so somebody might have to help me with that. But I'm so glad I did not get rid of Lynda and my messaging. September 19th, 2017 at 9:07 p.m., I have a message from Lynda. How are you doing? I hadn't been well most of the summer, so she was thinking of me. And then she said, I need your prayers. Been diagnosed with cancer. Having chemo for 3 months. I realize I'm a strange bird, but I have my own way of dealing with this. No fuss, no sympathy, just positive prayers. And in bold, God has this. That was her motto, wasn't it? God has this. And I wrote back and told her she could count on me for bold prayers. And then I told her that just the day before, a large mass was discovered on my right ovary, probably malignant. And thus began our soul sisters on our cancer journey. Every week we messaged through surgeries, sharing scriptures, and all the cute emojis that you can put up there on the messaging today. My healing from stage 4 ovarian cancer came in the form of major surgery and prayers of the faithful. I'm called by our medical team a miracle no doctor can explain. And my friend Lynda celebrated my healing. But we know this was not the scenario for Lynda, and my heart broke. But never, ever was there ever a why out of her mouth or a martyr attitude. Always steady in her faith, always confident God has this. My last message to Lynda was to tell her, I asked the Father, on that last Sunday, I asked the Father to hide her in the shelter of his presence. a heart came back. I have a sense it might have been Kelly that sent that heart back. Thank you, sweetheart. Joe and I will be forever grateful to you, Kelly, too. I want to speak to you for allowing us to share holy moments on Friday before your mum, I said that right, your mum, by her bed and with you. I had the opportunity to thank Lynda for the spiritual depth she poured over me, and I took every bit of it. Every bit of it. And for the times of pure fun and joy we shared. I told her that I was sad and I was disappointed that the plan I had for her healing didn't look like this. And she opened her eyes and she said to me, Gladys, healing does not always look the same for everyone. This is not what I would have chosen, she said, but it's all okay. God has this, and I am at peace. And she was. She was. We shared scripture, and Joe prayed, and then I told her I'd see her in heaven. Remember, Kelly? And she said, if I make it. It was almost with a giggle, and Kelly and Joe and I said, we're in trouble if she doesn't make it. Of course she has. Now, this past Sunday morning, after she was already in glory, I was so used to finding scripture for her, and I close with this. Scripture that I would send to her, but then I asked on Sunday morning for the Lord to give me verses that Lynda would say to us from glory. And here's a few beautiful verses from Psalm 73. And Lynda says in her testimony from this psalm, Yet, Lord, I am always with you. You hold me by my right hand. You guide me with your counsel, and afterward you will take me into glory. Whom have I in heaven but you? And earth has nothing I desire besides you. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. Those who are far from you will perish. You destroy all who are unfaithful to you. But as for me, it is good to be near God. I have made the sovereign Lord my refuge, and I will tell of all your deeds.